I'm perfectly happy, Otto. And it is a nice hat. It's my favorite one. I guess. You can hear me, right? It's not too loud. Hi, Gimp. You can hear me, right? Sounds good. Waiting on some others. I know Otto's lurking. Look at him with his power level. Waiting on some people. All right, all right. Where the hell is everybody? Mustang. I figured we could go over some Evony shit. These resources are not a part of the Evony shit. Leave them alone. And we got a couple. I know Otto's lurking. He ain't gonna say anything. He never says anything. He stays quiet. See? Well, I guess we'll jump into it anyway. So, just wanted to make this to help a little bit with refines and general setup. so we're not getting our asses kicked in server war. We got fucking slaughtered in Battlefield. Look at this. Look at that. 40,000 to 8,000. I had my ass served to me on a silver platter. Could have been cooked a little better, but past couple ones we've been kicking ass up. So you got that one. We kind of got the same treatment. This exact thing flipped on us. But we'll get into some basics. So what do y'all want to know first? General refinement, march layering, city development. As you can see, some of us don't even have a fucking Fafnir, but that's my fault. Trap building, um, resource production, tavern. Pretty much up to y'all, whatever you want. Tell me where to start and we'll go from there. Can't hear me? Hold on. Hey, Smash. Yes, you can't hear me. Or oh, okay, cool. Y'all can hear me. Look at that Gimpy coming in with the layering. Layering sucks ass, dude. I have layering on my march for Archer Siege, layering on my march for ground cav or ground siege. Yeah, my cav march sucks because I don't encounter anybody who's running primarily ground except for this little bastard and that one. Kestrel. Those two are the ones to go to for ground. Him first. His ground march has zeroed the shit out of me, and I don't feel like having to rebuild troops. See if I can widen this out. That's gonna help. Nope. Keep it small. So layering's first. Layering's a little bit tricky. You gotta get your layering right. For a march, dependent on what your opponent has. Sometimes you get lucky. You don't cook your preset. You attack, and you win, but you lose a shipload more troops than what you thought. We'll use a battlefield, for example. Go to our battlefields. Not that one. Definitely not that one. Got my ass kicked. I don't even want to look at it. Start here. No. This one. Try to get back to the one. We zeroed a guy. Keep 30. He had 10 million troops. More troops than he could ghost. Um, it was a pretty nice attack. We had me, Otto, I think Soon, and Scorn. Trying to get back to it. Right here. Here we go. Let me know when you guys can see this battle report. Strategy for Battlefield Smash. We're gonna do that in Alliance chat. We got to rework that. We were not working together as a team. just kind of happens. I think what it is we encounter so much power, and RDH could probably attest that you get so many people in there. You get two people at a billion. You're going, oh, okay, Battlefield's over. There's no way to win, but there's plenty of ways to win. You just have to work on how to win it, and I'll explain that with the march layering. Cool. So you see it, Kiss, Haibu. I got. I'm cutting that part out afterwards because I'm not letting scoring zero me in real life. But so you got this battle report. We obviously kicked the shit out of this guy. 252 million power is what he had. We took 230, and compared to that, we lost 98 million. So we'll just say 100 million total. 100 million to 230 million is a pretty big take. That's a lot to heal from. He somehow healed all of that. And in that, he had 519,000, 12 grounds. A lot of grounds. He had 519,000 grounds for T12. Then his sieges was 224. His ground T11s were almost 900,000. So he had a march size buff on there. Wait, no, my bad. We were attacking this fucker. I'm tripping. He had almost 900,000 grounds, 950,000 range, another 660,000 siege, and from there it just kind of dwindles down a little bit. But layering works in the way that he has so many of these tiers of troops. Your troops have to be layered in a way, or even in the rally, to where your different tiers are helping your primary tier. So when you're attacking somebody, your highest troops are going to be what attacks first. If you have T11 ground troops and you're attacking somebody who has T12 archers, his T12 archers are going to fight your grounds. His T12 grounds are going to fight your grounds, whatever your highest tier troop is. So let's say you're someone like me. We'll go to my troop numbers. And you see I've got 251,000 T13 archers. I don't have grounds. I have the calves, but I just started training the calves. I need to get the grounds. But if I were to attack somebody, these T13 troops are the first thing that are going to attack you. So if you have a maximum of T12 troops, my T13s are going to fight your T12s first, before your 12s get to fight my 12s or my 11s. Oh, give me one sec. Didn't want to cough on you. So with that, you have to know how to layer your march down to where even though your highest tier are attacking, you've got your smaller tiers behind it backing it up. And what I mean by that is, we'll see I got 251,000 T13 archers, 511,000 T12 archers, and then only 79,000 T11 archers. I got to rebuild those. I got to build those up. I don't have as many troops as I could, but when you march layer, you'll get something like this. Actually, we'll look at a preset. It's a lot easier to explain. Give me one sec. Yeah, see? Kess gets it. So when you're layering, this is a layer. So I got my Alfred. He's a tiny little dude. You got 4.6 million power. My specialties, I've got all of them gold except for the last one, which is a Battle of Eddington. It'll give me another 14% for buff. But he's my archer siege guy because his primary skill is increase the range troop attack by 30% and siege machine by 20%. So you got guys like Minamoto or Jumong or what's that? I think Lee Shimen, maybe, who are primary range. They don't give any other buff except for range. And The reason I use Archer Siege with Alfred is because he's already getting a base buff. He's got his 30% for the range and the 20% for the siege. Now with that, I'll stack on my range troop attack, my range troop range, and I'll explain that later. And then my march size because I want a bigger march. I could put a siege book on there, but I don't have as many siege as I need to have, so I'm going to redo the books eventually, just not right now. So you got your general first, then your subcity setup. And these also have troops inside of them. It gives you a different power based on your general build, the gear, what level the subcity is, the type of troops that can be held. The subcities go off of your main keep, so a keep 30 with a level 30 subcity can have T12s in it as well. So this is my March setup because I changed it a little bit for Battlefield, but we're going to go ahead and redo that. So I noticed I've got my 2 archers full set, almost, but I also throw in 183,000 ground. Those don't help at all, unless you're attacking somebody with archers as well and you want to take a couple of them out. So a primary archer siege march will look like this. Let me fix it a little bit. All right, so we've got our archers. Since this is an archer siege primary, that's all your big numbers are going to focus on. So you'll want all of my T13 archers, followed by a layer of 100 troops and another 100 troops. This is where the layering takes effect. So you're basically using these guys as fodder. When you send a layered march out, that's all they are. With such low numbers, you can do 1,000. I've seen some people do 1,000. Otto will do 10 sometimes. Sometimes he does 100. I really don't understand it because he's always changing it, trying to keep it mysterious, I guess. I'm talking to you, but your layered troops are pretty much fodder. So in this order, this is how basically your troops will attack. Range kills calves. Calves kill ground. Ground kill range. Siege kills everything, and everything kills siege. And don't know why, but that's what it is. Grounds are strong against archers because the archers obviously fight from range. Grounds are up close and personal. They can't counter that. Calves are quick. They can kill ground before they can even get a couple feet in. So basically all these 100 layers are doing is just trying to buy your layers time to kill the most troops. And then like with what Kess said, you got Scorn with the range and siege layers, me with the range and siege layers, and then you got Otto and Kestrel who can throw in a ground cav march, and then if we need more calves, someone like Dog Power can throw in calves. So what the basis of it is when you're fighting from the top down. So these guys are fighting first. Range can kill siege too, Smash. It just depends. It depends on a lot of things, buffs, debuffs, your range bonus for your range troops. And I'll explain that in a second. But with these 100 layers, so I don't get distracted again, you got my 13s fighting up front. They're going to attack you. Say you kill all 251,000 of those. While you're fighting those, you got these guys joining the fight and these guys joining the fight. Once you get through with them, and they've done bot time for these archers to kill whatever's hitting them. So whatever you got hitting these guys, and hitting these guys is also getting hit by these guys. No word. You don't gotta apologize. Trust me. You don't know. I didn't know. I got my ass kicked plenty of times when I was newer to the game. So your T13s are fighting. You got these guys. After all your 13s are killed, you're bringing in that 100. Then once that 100's killed, you're bringing in the next set of 100. But the purpose for the layering is, think of it kind of as a battle. These are my frontline troops. As soon as they're done, or as soon as they're starting to get overwhelmed, the next set of guys is going to come in to relieve them. And once the attack's going, these guys are joining the fight with these guys, but they're not fully in it until these guys are done. The 13s have to be done before the 12s can engage. Now, this is where it kind of gets to a pain in the ass. So you got your T12 siege and your T12 archers and T12 siege. These guys will kind of attack in unison. So not only do you have your marksman attacking, but you've also got your siege attacking, because the marksman and the siege have the two higher ranges for what can attack troops. And you notice it kind of goes down. I've seen some people do it to where they got their 10 troops just to buy time, like my cavalry's right there. And then these guys, these sieges will come in while those 10 are being attacked and attack here. So it's pretty much, if you've ever seen Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, they got their frontline guys fighting like that. It's the same way in Evony. It's just the layering is buying you a little bit more time for your higher number troops to kill more in the end. So, like, let's go back and look at that battlefield report that I gotta go searching for. I should probably make it a favorite so I don't have to do that. Wait, does that make sense before I try to get into this? What are you frame? Hey, cool, we got 11 people here. Oh, 10. That's cool. I thought it was the bottom up too. It's stupid. It's supposed to be bottom up. I don't understand the update. If you read the updates when they come out, sometimes they'll say, oh, these troops attack first. Your 12s and your 13s and your 14s are going to attack first. But then the next update, I've seen it. I've played like it. It sucks. It changes everything to where now your ones are hitting first. Which I'll probably have to get clarification on that. But I think right now it's higher ones attack first. Hey, what's up, ramen? I love ramen. Beef flavored ramen. That's this shit. And anytime, dude. This will be the one first of a couple, many, however many I want. So let's look at what everyone sent. We got me, Otto, and Scorn. I sent my range seas march. You got Alfred. Got my range troops, my ground troops that I had, that 160 or 183,000, I think is what it was. That I used to assist, and you'll see why. Got my T12 range. Yeah, see, Kestrel gets it. Soft boiled egg. I don't know about that. I just cracked a raw egg into my ramen and throw it together. Um, I gotta stop getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. So if you see the march that I got, I sent the exact same thing I showed you guys. It's the white flag is how many were wounded, and the little troop guys up here in the top left are what survived. So it'll give you your totals. So you see 86 plus 14 is 100, 96 plus 4 is 100. So I changed my Archer Siege March up to add that 183,000 ground, but relatively it's still the same thing. If you add these numbers together, it's really going to be what I had, except for the T12 range. I lost a couple range before that rally, and just not what I had. I don't layer all the way to 1. I don't see a point in it. It just takes up march space, in my opinion. So, right in that one, it was only down to level 10. And the reason I sent those grounds is because you got our next contestant, autocorrect, who sent Yufei, a primary ground general, with all of his, and his ground killed a shit ton of his troops. Jesus. I didn't even see that earlier, but that's pretty decent. Obviously, the little sword is killing. So he killed 3,267,000 ground with a little over 800,000 of his own. But my ground were in there with that. So he had all of his T13 ground, but then he had another 200,000 T12 ground. So my 183,000 T12 ground brought all of his up to 300K. You can focus it all the way down, Gimpy. If you want, you could do T12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just whatever style of play adapts to how you want to play. I've seen some people layer all the way down. I've seen some only attack with their higher tiers. Seen some attack with more mid tiers than high tiers. That really don't make sense to me. But it's basically user preference. Can't sacrifice with little tiers first on traps. Why not? They're little tiers. I'm really not concerned about losing some T1s. But I also can't ghost, so I'm concerned with losing everything. So I sent a little bit of ground to back auto up, and you see that he layers all the way down. He goes all the way to tier 1. All the way to 100 of them tier 1 mounted. He's got the right idea. Otto's a better attacker than I am. I never say that to his face. I'll say it on here, though, because he can't screenshot it. But I sent my ground to help him out. I know that he has more T13 ground, but on that second attack for the ground, there had to be a little bit more to buy him a little bit more time. You know what I mean? He's got a better ground march than I do, and my ground troops really weren't getting a buff. They were just fodder. So what they essentially did was let themselves get killed while the rest of his guys were doing what they needed to do. I think I'm confused. Okay, I'll explain that Mustang here in a minute. Let me finish this battle report, and we'll get to how someone with T11s and T12s can beat someone with T12s or 13s or even 14s. I think I have one of our battle reports saved of this exact same team, actually. Me, Otto, and Scorn. On a challenge match, we took out a 35's T13 and 14 troops. But yeah, so basically my guys were basically fodder for Otto. My ground troops, that was all it was doing, was buying him some time. Then you got the Scone. She's got a range march. She uses Simeon. He's not as powerful as Alfred or Yufei, but he's still got some power behind him. Hers, I have set up a little bit differently. I have it set up this way because of what she was trying to do at the time. I probably need to change it. So you can see she sent 160,000 T13 range. They killed 641,000. You got all of her grounds. She had a little bit extra ground in there, which helped Otto out even more. All of her T12 range, which is another 500,000. Speaking of, let me check to make sure that her bubble is okay. I don't even remember the last time I set a bubble on that. Yeah, she needs. We'll go. But then she's got her T12 range, siege. She's got 132,000 siege, another 50,000 T11 siege, and hers is only layered down to T10 as well because I set it up. But basically, Otto's was attacking on all the tiers, and ours were pretty much just to defend him and help him out a little bit. The guy had a lot of archers, and not a lot of ground. And I think Otto, if you got that scout report for him, can you share it so I can see it? Waiting to see if Otto can share that report. I don't know if I have one. Let me look. It's that one. Thanks. I got that one. And I got this one. Kestrel, if you have the scout report of Solus, were you in Battlefield? No, you weren't in Battlefield. I don't think you were worked. My fault. There we go. So this dude had 10 million troops at a key 30. That's a lot. With the 2.6 million Johnston, it's not very good. So you see, he had a shit ton of soldiers and marksmen, not a whole lot of T12 cabs. Then he had a lot of T11 grounds. I'll get to that. Ramen had a lot of siege, some calves right there, and his archers. Notice that his grounds severely cut. I mean, his archers severely cut off from his 11s and 12s to his 10s. So Otto sent a ton of grounds because of all of his archers. 347,000, 946,000, 219,000. Again, ground kills archers. So he knew that his primary, with his UFA being built the way it was, he needed to send his ground. He could have used a little bit extra cav. We probably should have sent more. It might have saved a little bit of wounded, so it's our fault. But him being the ground primary basically eliminated every bit of marksman this guy had. Every single archer he had, he was done. His chariots, not really a problem once his ground made it through the marksman. His catapults and his chariots were pretty much eliminated. With him having 257,000 calves and then 770,000 calves, the reason we sent Archer Siege, archers kill calves. With him not having a whole bunch of his, let's see, T11 warriors and then his T12 soldiers, the calves would have helped a little bit, but at Otto leading the rally, it wasn't going to matter. Otto debuffs him with the Oct gear or the Plantagenet gear, Civilization gear, whatever he's got on his primary general. And then we have our own specific debuffs for our person. So what I mean by that, and this is kind of going into how you can defeat someone with those troops, is the buffs. So here's his buffs. Otto's leading, so it's his buff against us. Otto's ground buff says 700. I don't know why it says me. I didn't lead with ground. Otto did. And I sent an archer siege march, so my archer attack should be way higher if it was me leading. So you got his buff at 516 for the attack. His defense is 576 and 424 for the HP. Otto's at almost 800% attack, 700% defense, and just above 600 on the HP for ground. So with his grounds being that high and his mounteds not even breaching close enough to him, Otto wasn't going to lose many grounds to begin with. Buffs are everything in PvP. It's getting harder against everything because they put that keep 40 maximum in here for the guys that have deep ass pockets. And this is just a quick thing about buffs, but this is why he killed so many of them. The buffs just weren't matching. This guy's at 612 down here at the siege, 497, 667, 516, and auto's pretty much outclassing him and everything. Obviously, his range wasn't going to be as high because this dude is using his defensive buff. Auto's attack is primary ground. So everything else is going to be lower, but even without the mounted, this guy couldn't compete. Look at Auto's general here in a minute. Then you got debuffs. Basically, whatever this guy has up here on his side is going to be this total subtracted by Auto's debuffs on the left. So let's say his mounted troop attack. His mounted troop attack was 497. Auto debuffs him 97%. So instead of it being 497, he's at 400. This guy's half of the buff to take ground troops as what Auto is sending to take his archers. 400 to 800. We'll just round Auto up, give him the benefit of the doubt because he broke 1,000. But buffs and debuffs play so much into an effect with the PvP. If you're not built right, you can sit here and go, oh, this guy's got 2 million troops and I'm sending 1 million by myself. I should be able to take him because I got higher tier troops than he does. Not necessarily. If this dude's rocking some pretty good debuffs, you're going to get your ass kicked. And I'm going to be like, ooh, get your ass kicked. We don't want that to happen. Especially when you got people like this lurking. For those of you who don't know, where did it go? That is our gal spy. That little deer. They always got people everywhere. You don't want them knowing what you got. You want to surprise them. Hey, see, Otto's helping us out. Look at his Yufei. His Yufei kicks ass. He's got ground troop 40%. All of his refines are ground and mounted. Ground and mounted. Ground and mounted. I'll explain that when we get into the buffs. But I hate his Yufei. It is the worst general I've encountered in the game. Because if it hits me one time, I'm fucked. So, just a quick overview of buffs, and then obviously, he's got 10 million troops competing against, we'll say what, 980,000? We'll say 3 million. So 3 million troops took out 10 million troops, all because of buffs to debuffs. So, that's kind of how the March layering is. I know that's kind of basic, kind of sucks. It's harder to explain when you're not actively doing something. Kestrel, go home, dude. Your face sucks. But yeah. So I guess a good place to go after that would be the general setup. Do y'all understand the layering? Do y'all want me to go into it farther? Trying to see how I can say it without sounding confusing. But I'm sure that sounded just as confusing. Oh, okay. Actually, you know what? I didn't even answer Mustang's question. That's my bad. So how is it possible someone with T11 and T12 can defeat somebody with T12s or T13s? Buffs. I can hit, we'll use an example. We'll just use Auto's buffs for that ground. Or do I have a defenses on Auto? No, I don't. These buffs are not the same. When you're thinking about hitting somebody and you see them attack, if, say I attack Kestrel and Kestrel shares her battle report. First off, if I attack Kestrel, I'm screwed. Augustine is going to absolutely murder me. But she might see something like this. I need a good attack. We'll just use mine. Okay. This is back when I didn't have all the power that I should have had, and before I could actually, or when I could actually ghost. This dude had the same tier troops as me, but they were all out at the time. So when I attack somebody, see if we can go back to some server war nonsense from last week. We use 4K. Purge 4K from my last server war. He's a keep 34. I believe. Yeah, so he's keep 34. But he didn't have any type of good defense general on. So you got his T13 grounds. He had a ton of 12 or 13 archers. A ton of 12 archers. Let's see. And that's pretty much it. That's all he had, really. But that was on a return march, and he was trying to ghost. The dude did nothing but ghost. But when you see my march, I sent the same thing. I am not using ILPA. I just have a feeling that no, I'm not using ILPA. So when I attack him, you see, okay, I lost 6 million power to killing 100 million from a keep 34. How in the hell did you do that? He's got 2 keep levels on you. He's got buffs on you. He's got debuffs on you. He's got Oct gear. Keep 32 doesn't have Oct gear or civilization gear. He's got to be better, but he's not. The reason is right there. He had no defense general on. He had no buffs helping him. He had no debuffs helping him. He didn't have anything. So yeah, he might have had tier 13 range. He had basically 800,000 of them, but 500,000 of mine killed him. He had nothing helping him. So when you look at the buffs report, 877 attack for range versus 410. I'm almost at 900. I am almost there. I'm trying really hard. But his defense general wasn't buffing him at all. So while his troops were at home, they're basically just sitting there without anybody giving him any type of help. So, 465. I wasn't even sending grounded. I'm still stomping him in buffs. Wasn't sending mounted. I'm still stomping him in buffs. I sent some siege, but I still stomped him in buffs. And on top of that, take a look at his range troop. While he had 800,000 T13s, and he didn't have a defense general on. His base defense for his ranged attack is 410. But if you go down to my debuffs, I debuff him for 200%. So it basically takes his 410 down to 210. Sucker. That's what he gets. And debuffs are everything, even if they have a defensive general on the wall. I think I lost an attack to him. But as you can see, my siege machine attack, his is 323. I'm debuffing him for 127%. His mounted troops are 90 or 306. I'm debuffing him for 95. Now, he's debuffing me at the same time. He's giving me a negative 74% to my ranged attack. So that takes me down to 803%. That doesn't sound very good facing 803% when you've only got 210% helping you out. Does that make sense? Had he had a defense general on, it would have went different. Which is not Geo. I think the other one was on Spoin's account. But same with this guy. I think he had a defense general on. He had Kunosoki. We'll use this guy as one who had buffs. He had Kunosoki Masahigi. Or Masashigi, whatever you want to call him. Just call him Kunosoki. He is a defense general. He does mounted troop, I think. Let me see what the scone has him. It's easier to see. Kunosoki does In-city mounted troop attack by 20 and in-city ranged troop by 35. So look at his troop buff. Still poorly built compared to Alfred. Alfred's at 4.6 million with all of his buffs. His Kunosoki's at 2 million. I'm already twice the power of his defense general with just my attack general. His buffs low compared to anything. He's got that 35% buff to range, but he's only at 488%. Ain't helping his ground out at 338, so my archers are fine because I'm literally twice what he has. And on top of that, I'm still debuffing him for the same debuffs. 200%, 95, 127, 95. Which I got it up to 100 for the ground. Proud of myself for that one. So even though he had all of his troops at home, he wasn't getting any help. So if they're poorly built, you can take higher tiers. If they don't have a defense general, you can take higher tiers. If he's got a weak defense general, you can take higher tiers. It's all dependent on your opponent's build. Oh, let's look at Kuss. Here's Otto. This dude sent 926,000 troops at Otto, and he can only manage to pull 2.4 million. Why? Why? Because Otto's Johnston is built. It might not look like it, but he's built. So you got 4.4 million versus 2.5. Let's look at the buffs. Here's where Otto started. Here's the reason why Otto won. He's got a higher range buff than Otto. He's got a lower ground buff, lower mounted, lower siege. So let's see what he attacked with. Archer siege. Let's see what Otto defended with. All of his troops. So while this guy might have a pretty high archer buff for, well, what level was he? Ronin? 82 million? He couldn't have been higher than a Keep 30. 183 what? Oh, 183 ground. I see the chat. This dude sent his archers. A little bit of ground. He sent fucking 4,500 ground. But he sent a little bit of ground there. What the hell is this march? I'm sure Otto asked himself the same question. This march doesn't make sense. Who did he attack with? Electra. She's mounted archer. He still didn't send anything, dude. So he sent a general, but he has no march to send with it. He's just throwing some shit together and hope it works. And that's why he lost. He didn't send the right troops, one. Two is he doesn't have anything to affect Otto. Look at his debuffs. 56%, 55%, 52%. Otto's sitting here banging out 70, 70, 90, 70. He's debuffing this dude even more. This dude stood no chance. He sent a range general with all of that buff, but he didn't help himself at all. He sent 54 ranged in that one. He sent 132 siege. I think Electra's mounted range. He didn't send anything to effectively kick Otto's ass. Ouch. Ouch. Damn. 1,800% on the range buff. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. That's terrible. Terrible. Anyway. So it's pretty much it all comes down to buff. So if you have a 800% buff and you're going against a in your what Pony Express is keep 30, so she's got T12s. You could have been smacking around Purge 4K when he didn't have his wall general on, or even if he did, just because he was underdeveloped for a keep 34. If you put too much research into attacking, but not enough for researching the debuffs, the buffs, the general setup, you're gonna lose. It all depends on how your character or how your player, how you're built and how the person you're playing is built. Also, troop selection is important. Don't send archers with Yu Fei. Don't send grounds with Alfred. You can send it with Eddie. Otto does send it with Eddie, and that does some serious damage. But you got to know what you're looking for. So that's, I guess, what'll bring us into the second thing: general refinement. If you get a general like Alfred, he's my main one. I got Magnet Het. Magnet Het is a good ground general. I don't have him built where he needs to be. Roland, monsters. Yu Fei for mounted and ground. But we'll look at Alfred. So this is where everything ties into itself. If you've got a general, before I even get to Alfred, actually, we'll just look. We'll go to the top leaderboards for generals. We'll go down to the bottom. See if we can call someone out. Oh, cool. You're from PHX. Definitely calling you out. Okay. He's actually built. I don't like PHX. So if there's any of them in here, sorry. Bring it to me in World Chat. We'll discuss it. Trying to see somebody who might be bad, poorly built. What is his name? Hakan? There we go. First off, don't put this on your mounted guys. I mean, you can. Gives you mounted troop attack. I don't see anybody that's really poorly built though. But we'll bring it back to the basics anyway. So with Alfred, Alfred's again range, siege. That's it. That's the only two refines you really want. I got Ares gear on him except for the ring. But everything he has buffs the range or the siege. So you got his bow with his range troop attack plus 45%, his marching range troop attack plus 22%, and his marching ground troop defense plus 22%. But on top of that, I've got his refines at 16, 24, a siege machine attack at 18, another range troop at 16. Oh, and the set bonuses are important too. Attacking troop attack plus 15%, ground and mounted troop attack on and defense on monsters plus 25%. That's cool. Really don't care about that second one. The march size capacity is nice. But then you got his armor. Range troop defense, range troop defense, range troop defense, range troop defense. Oh, and his ground troop defense plus 22, ground troop HP plus 22. But the reason I went with this armor on him instead of an archer armor or a siege armor is because the debuffs. Enemy range troop attack negative 30. That's a debuff. Enemy siege machine attack negative 30. Also a debuff. And these go up, by the way. These start out way lower, but as you tier the stars up, it'll go up for the defense or buff. His boots, range troop HP plus 22. March speed 34, really don't care about that. Mounted troop attack, really don't care about that. Mounted troop defense, don't care. But then This one is the one I'm working refines on. Range troop defense plus 24.3%. Ares gear brings you from 20% to 25% maximums. So if you got a 20% range buff on your bow and you upgrade it to an Ares, you can go to 25 now. So this one's currently being built. I just put the ground troop defenses on there because they were high numbers. Fearless Ares helmet. Range troop attack plus 22%. Siege machine attack plus 22%. I'm stacking my buffs. Every single piece of armor that I got has something to do with what I'm sending. So I send my archer and sieges with the march. I'm buffing the archer siege with not only his pieces, but the refines as well. The refining attributes at the bottom all have something to do with the troops I'm sending. That's how a general should be built. Don't equip a bow and then throw on some. Here, let's just look. Make sure I don't fuck this up because I don't want to change my refines. Also, just for those of you who don't know, let me see if I can fix the screen a little bit. I'll move it back. But Ares gear, you spend more gems to refine. So let's say I want to lock one. 2,000 gems to refine it instead of 1.5. I want to lock two. 4,000. 3. 6,000. 4. What? Oh, I'm stupid. It won't let me lock 4 because you obviously can't refine something if you're locking off fucking 4. Duh. So, and then Ak gear is even more expensive. I think Otto said Civilization gear is 8,000. So, it gets expensive. If you don't have your gems, it's going to get bad. Let's hope I don't fuck this up. So, you just click once. Don't have a general like Alfred with a bow or a ranged general with a bow and put lumber gathering speed, mounted troop attack, mounted troop attack, ground troop attack, nothing. Archer, siege, buff the archer, siege. So I'm going to cancel that so I don't fuck it up. But everything he has benefits him. Fearless Ares. Let me lower the screen back. Cool. His Fearless Ares gear, or Fearless Dragon, I mean. Range troop HP plus 28%. March size capacity plus 11%. That goes on top of this march size, so it's an extra 23%. But you see the refining attributes. Range troop attack, range troop attack, range troop attack, range troop attack. So when you get all of that, and you're sitting there going, well, I need gems to get my refines. I don't get enough gems. You either dump money into the game or do better in Battlefield. Don't really know other options. I mean, you can do the Tavern Wheel of Fortune. That's garbage. But it takes time. And there's some people that I've ran in these servers. Keep 33, keep 34 in our server with 300% less of a buff than what I've got at range. And I'm almost at 900%. Otto's one keep level above me. He just broke 1,000. There's no reason you should be a keep 33 or 34 and repping less than 1,000. That's not me talking shit. That's me just saying that that's where you should be. So if you're not there, you need to look at what you've got and say, okay, I need to redo this. Just don't get ahead of yourself and think, oh, okay, I'm gonna keep 34. I got all this and all that. I got these troops. I got those troops. I can kill this guy. Because if you get a keep 30 who's really well built and he's got an 800% defense, I don't care if you're a keep 34 or not. Your attack is not going to win. But then, on top of the gear stacking on itself, you got his specialties. Range troop attack and defense plus 10 for his first one. March size capacity plus 6. So now I'm repping the whole 29% for the march size capacity. Attacking siege machine and range troop attack plus 10. His third one, the Ares one. Range troop attack plus 10. HP and defense plus 10. This one is a pain, but you need gems for everything, and I haven't had enough to do this. But right now it's at 21%. If you go to the specialty and you unlock his last one, it gives him an extra 14%. So that'll put me at 900% of a range buff. I need to get my ass on it. I only got 343. These little fucking shards right here suck. But that's with every general. Every piece has something to help a general. So when you look at it, you'll say, okay, I don't want to be range siege. I want to be ground. Craft some, go to craft, and you can look, okay, this is ground troop attack. You might want that one. This one, garbage. That'll help with the ground troop attack. Mounted troop attack, no. Ground troop defense, you'll want the courageous boots. Ground troop HP or siege machine attack. So okay, ground troop HP, cool. This one don't have anything to do with ground. I want the fearless. You can mix match courageous and fearless. You're gonna get the same buffs for the set regardless. Just same with this one. Ground troop defense, in city ground troop defense. You basically get 20% ground troop defense. If you're equipping it on a wall general, obviously. Mounted troop HP, no, don't want that for a ground guy. Ground troop attack plus 15 for the courageous helm. Ground troop defense, ground troop HP. That's 3 ground things right there. You'll want that for a ground guy. And then obviously your sword for ground troop attack. Set attributes are important. You get gathering speed, monster attack and defense, and attacking troop attack for the dragon gear. Look at the hot gear. You get all troops attack plus 10, ground and mounted troop attack and defense on monsters, 25%, cool. Enemy troop attack minus 15. So everything you can equip needs to benefit your general, but also needs to not benefit the enemy. I was trying to think of another word there. Any questions so far? I've been talking for a hot minute. Yeah, see? If you lock 3 refines at civilization gear, it's 8,000 gems per 1 refine. You refine it 4 times, you spent 32,000 gems like that. Let me know if y'all got any questions before I try to dive into this farther, because there's more with the buffs. I just don't want to get ahead of myself. Oh, also, while I'm waiting to see if y'all got questions, dragons, obviously, you got to get top 5 to get your wonder. It happens. It's a pain. It's a pain in the ass. Hey, easy. But your dragons also help with buffs and debuffs. So all the buffs come through equipment and general refining. Where does Research Academy play in this? Oh, shit, that's right. My fault. So we'll go to the Research Academy. This helps your base buff. So we'll go to Research. See, I'm doing my military advanced tree. I got my range troop HP. Increases single range troop HP. So all of these, this is keep 29 and above. If you're below keep 29, you don't have the military advanced tree. But these are all factored in. All your range troop HP, the ground troop HP, ground troop defense, range troop defense. I'm trying to get that one maxed out. All of this goes into where your battle report would be. So you can say, okay, let's look at one of the ones that I've got maxed. I think it's maxed for my level. So my single range troop attack, I need to be keep 33 to research this even higher. Which I'm working toward keep 33. But so its current level is 29%. You want to research it, you're going to start out at 0. Once you unlock the military advance, it's just a 0. So let's say you finally reach keep 29 and you go, okay, my buff's at 600%. Oh, okay, cool. I unlocked my military advanced tree. Get these first couple ones done just so you can see what's farther down here. You can go looking and say, oh, accuracy, what's that? Plus 29%. So say you're reaching 600% as a base with your general refined and all your correct gear. This goes into your total buff. So if you're attacking at 600%, then you get this unlocked and you get this to level 21 out of 25 and you're getting an extra 20% or 29%. You now took your range troop buff from 600% to 629%, which it doesn't sound like a lot. It's only a quarter of 100. But when you're attacking somebody who, if you got a 600% buff and they got a 500% buff, you don't have a whole lot of room for error there. There's a good chance you're going to lose, but then you get this extra 29%, and that might be what breaks from losing that attack to winning. You might lose a lot of troops, but you're still going to win the attack. You know what I mean? Not all of your buffs come through equipment. So your research tree, obviously you got your regular military over here. There's a couple of things I neglected on that. Like I got one more on that, but I've been focused on debuffs here recently. One more on the advanced conscription. 5 more on the siege machine because I've been lacking. But all of your military stuff factors into when you're attacking and when you're defending. On top of that, by the way, Mustang, all of this buffs something else or debuffs something else. So I might have accuracy here, increases my range troop attack, and you go, okay, cool, that would give me a little bit of an edge when I'm fighting someone. But then you got binding, which you can research right off of the heels of that. Or no, my bad, weakening because ground troops kill archers. So you go, okay, I got my accuracy up and I got my extra 29%. That's going to help me a little bit, right? Yeah, it'll help. It'll help a little bit. But if you focus too much on this one and you don't come up here to this little purple icon, weakening, that helps even more. Because with ground troops killing range troops, the more you can debuff them and the more you can buff yourself, the less you're going to lose. So right now I'm giving negative 44% to a ground troop attack. So if I'm attacking you, you just lost 44% of whatever your buff is. And I gain 29% just by having mine updated. Same thing with Fearless, increases single mounted troop attack. You know, mounteds kill ground, but archers also kill mounted. So you'll come over here to binding, reduce enemy range troop attack. Everything has a buff and everything can help with the debuffs as well. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. I can come back to it. Here's another part for buffs, by the way. All right, cool. Glad it makes sense. Here's another part where people neglect or overlook because they don't think it's important. These where did they go? Right here. Your artwork chests are hella important. Open these, save them to 800, open them every chance you can because here's your art hall. So you got all the general refining, all of your academy research, um, I will get to that gimp. Give me one sec just to finish up the buffing and debuffing. This is just basics. I'll go into a deeper dive. The next stream that I do will be primarily on buffs and debuffs, or what to, like, I could do a stream during server war and go smoke somebody, and y'all could watch that to see what I mean when you're attacking someone. Give you a little bit of a tip before this is over too. So you got your art hall. Open up your stuff to get your exhibitions done. See, mine are all reset because I just sold them all, but these help enormously. You got the night equipment hall, oil painting hall, stringed instruments hall. If you've been lacking on this and you're just saying, oh, I'm saving them up because all I'm getting is gold from them, okay, cool. You can think that, but then you go to your art treasure, bam. All of these give you a buff somewhere. Excalibur, marching ground troop attack, range troop attack, and mounted troop +5. That's an extra 5% buff. Mona Lisa, resource production, resource gathering, helps with the resources. Great Imperial Crown, gold production, cool. Nobody cares about subsidies unless you're auto. Training speed, march speed to monsters, cool for this Discobius. The Terracotta Army, that one's nice. Range troop and siege machine attack +10, so you're stacking another 10%. I don't even know how to say this guy, but the little gold thing, 5% buff. The Nike, range troop attack, defense, and HP +10%. You're stacking your buffs because you completed your treasure chest or treasure haul, and you're giving yourself that much more of an advantage. And it'll tell you what you need, so you can go. Sorry. You can go. Oh, I don't have my Ring of Fafnir, which gives me +20% training capacity, +5% troop HP. What do you need for it? Strategy expert? Okay, cool. Let's go look at our general hall. What the hell? It said strategy expert. Oh wait, that's one of these, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Battle of Guagamela. Nobody's getting there. There's buffs from Fame. Not Fame, but Castles, yes. I'll show you what that is. But so you look at this, you say, okay, I need Victorious Master for the Champion Knight Armor, which gives you mana troop, attack, defense, and HP +10%. Or 15%, I'm sorry. You go to your General Hall. I need Victorious Master. I need Charles Martel. That's it. All I need is Charles Martel. As soon as I get him, because he's been ducking me, the bastard, bam. I get my Victorious Master set because I've already got Strategy Master and Genius Leader. I get my extra 15% attack, defense, and HP to throw on as a buff too. Your Golden Eagle, all troop attack +10, all enemy troop attack -10. Meteocrat, Legendary Hero, and Invincible Ares. That's all this stuff. I got all the generals. Legendary Hero, Invincible Ares, I've got all of them. I just need to hit keep 35, keep 34, keep 35. All of that gives a buff, all of it gives a debuff, so make sure you stay on top of it. The castles give a buff as well. So you got my little gold castle, doesn't do me any good. Wonder doesn't give you anything. Wonder castle, no buff. Otto's keep that he gets for winning server war, no buff. The buffs are going to be displayed right above where it says server war Ares. So let's go to 14 day. That's dumb. So you got these. Holy Triumphal Castle gives 1,000 training capacity, 10% troop attack. So all your buffs are +10. All these give different ones. Like this one, you need to be 3rd season all-star. It's not even season 3, it's season 8 right now. Or season 9. But you can go through and see, okay, we'll take Taurus or Eric's keep, since they, for some reason, let people like that into our server. Enemy ground troop HP -15%, mounted troop attack +25%, march size capacity +15. So all he's really getting out of that when he attacks someone is -15 to the enemy ground and a little bit of a buff if he decides to send mounted troops. Um, the Verona keep, I know you see, I think Dog Power has it. Yo-Chan has it. Batman's using it. He's using the pink one. But that gives 1,000 training capacity, reinforcing ground troop attack and mounted troop attack plus 20, and then ground troop HP plus 20. So his keep is really good. This blue one would be good for reinforcing someone with grounder mounted. If somebody's sending archers at this guy or at somebody, you can reinforce them, get an extra 20%, destroy their archers. Range troop and siege machine attack, good for somebody sending some calves. Kind of the same thing. Your range troop attack gets a 15% buff. I really wanted this keep just because it looks cool. This one is phenomenal. Enemy range troop attack -10. Ground troops kill range, so let's go ahead and buff the range troop attack and attack and HP plus 30%. Some give you buffs, some don't. This keep, the one that Bottega uses, in-city range troop and siege machine attack plus 20%, range troop and siege machine percent or defense plus 20%, and subordinate city troop death to survival rate plus 5%. Some give you buffs, some don't. This one's an all monsters keep, 20% to monsters, 30% to monsters. Then you got mine that I like using, or the one that Calico Jack's using, or Twigger. That doesn't give a buff. It doesn't give us anything. It just looks cool. I wanted it because it looks cool. That's it. Nothing else on here gives you buffs. I can't select a dragon and get a buff from it. I can't throw on my wings and get a buff. Top 5 blue wings don't give you a buff. The blue dragon gives you a debuff though. So, does that answer your question, Kess? Oh, another thing for those archer guys out there. We'll look at the Celtic dragon, the red one that you can get at Keep 26. You can get range troop attack buffs on there. And this is, I see this a lot. People will use this dragon with a ground general or this dragon with a mounted general. Don't do that. If you've got this red dragon on one of those two generals, take him off before I zero you. Reason I'm saying that is range troop attack, obviously. You can get different buffs, but gotta keep it at range because he belongs with range. He's level 8, gotta get him level 10. See this little emblem down here? This gold emblem on the right? This is where people fuck up because they think, oh, I got a dragon on there, so I can just refine it to fit that dragon and it'll be fine. No, this is a ranged dragon. You click on this little gold emblem, bam. Marching range troop attack plus 20%. Marching ground troop defense plus 20%. An extra 10% to your march size capacity. That's at level 8. Level 10, you get marching range troop attack plus 25. A 25 for defense on ground. 15%, an extra 5% troops, which will bring my march size to 1,000. I mean, 1,000,000. And then general survival rate 100%. So that means even if you attack someone and you lose the attack in server war or KE, your general does not die, and you don't have to waste a revival stone to bring him back. So this is primary range. That's why when I see people using this red dragon on a mounted general, I know immediately that they don't know what they're doing, which is fine. Not a lot of people pay attention to this. User error is fine. Knowledge, all that jazz. But don't put him on someone he don't belong on. The Fafner's a mounted general. I don't have him, obviously, but I don't really care for the mounted. I'm more PvP than anything. Make fun of me if you want. It's not gonna bother me. Then you got guys like your Wonder Dragons. I got Thebes as the in-city dragon right now, but I got Norway Ridge, which is Wonder 1 unlocked. When you unlock your Wonder 1 after top 5 in server war, you get him for free. You don't have to spend dragon crystals or gems to unlock them like you had to the other ones. This is a debuff or a debuff. I have mounted refines on him because you can throw him on a mounted march to debuff directly to barbarians if you need to. I've seen Auto do it. I do it. I try not to, but I'll do it if I have to. He's mounted. I mean, he's strictly debuff though. Enemy ground troop HP -20, mounted troop -20. Death turning wounded rate of troops when they're attacking +5. Gimpy, to answer your question, if you're still here, medical. You're welcome. I actually see that you were just leaving, but you're welcome. I'll do this again. Level 8, -25% for ground troop HP and mounted HP, 5% for whatever. He's good for a subsidy. If you got a subsidy general, you throw him on a subsidy general. Right now, my Norway Ridge is on Baldwin, I think. Yeah, he's on Baldwin. Thieves, Wall General, Siege Machine, and Ranged Troop Attack are one of the refines I got on him. But he starts out giving a in-city Siege Machine attack +20, and now once I get him to level 4, in-city Siege Machine attack is 25, and the ground troop defense goes up 25. Each one gives you something different. I don't know what the other ones do because miraculous eggs you have to get from all-stars, and I'm not an all-star. But Thebes goes on a wall defense gen, and I've got him on Johnston. See him up here in the little corner. Let me change my wall gen, by the way. Map the resources. Another thing with debuffs, subsidy gens. All your generals and your subsidies, if you're going for city development, you can change them to developing generals. But if you've got debuff generals, which I keep mine at debuff all the time anyway, is more important for PvP. So like Baldwin, reduce enemy range troop attack by 30 and enemy siege machine attack by 20%. His specialty gives me an extra 4% that I've got unlocked. Same with Amir. Reduces enemy range troop and siege machine attack by 15% and enemy ground troop attack by 25%. So he's given a hell of a debuff. He's underrated. Arminius is also underrated. Enemy ground troop and mounted troop HP by 10. Enemy range troop and siege machine attack by 15. With his ability, which is an extra 2%, and then Amir's was an extra 1% for enemy troop HP. Mansa Musa reduces all troops by 10% and increases the subordinate city troop death to survival rate by 10%, which he's a good combo with Margaret. I got Margaret. I got 2 Jacksons. Enemy range troop attack by 20% and mounted troop by 20%. It reduces. And then Margaret. Enemy troop attack by 10% and enemy mounted troop attack by 20% when they're in the sub. It says leading the army, but when they're in the sub. You can throw some books on them, like training speed, construction, training capacity, just to help your subsidy grow a little bit faster. But debuff. Anybody that's got a debuff is good. If you get someone who's like, oh, this gives 35% construction speed to the subordinate city, don't use him. He's garbage. Look for someone else. Another thing that increases your buffs, for those of you that use people like Arminius, and this is where it gets confusing. Or no, not Arminius. Who is it that I always use? Trying to look. Gustavus. He's decent. But when you get these types of generals, it reduces enemy range troop and siege machine defense by 15%. But increases the range troop and siege machine attack by 15. So you go, oh, why aren't you using him? He buffs an extra 15% to range and siege. Only to the subsidy troops. The debuffs affect the troops you're attacking, but the buffs from him only affect the buff of that subsidy. It's not going to bring Alfred's percentage up any higher. But that's kind of just the basics for everything. Wanted to do a quick one, get it all figured out. Everybody could ask questions or whatever. Hopefully, the next one that I do is a little bit better for everybody's timing. But I've got things that I've got to do, so I'm gonna have to hop off here. But I'm gonna let y'all know what I'll do the next one, and if everybody's good with the time, cool. I'll try to work around your schedule. I don't have much going on this week, so yeah, I think it's a short week, so everything will be good. But for now, that's it. If y'all got any questions, I know it was a pretty basic explanation. Message me on Discord, in the game, um, or auto. Auto's good help too. If you want ground help, go to auto. You don't have to be range siege. Do archer or do ground cav. Do ground siege. Don't do archer cav, but you can do everything else. So hopefully that helps some of y'all. If it needs further explaining, I'll do another one. But as of right now, I think the next one's going to be next week during server war anyway. So I'm going to log off here. Y'all have a good day, and